The Reverse Flash is one of my favorite villains within the DC universe. He's so psychotic, he's so crazy, and his entire purpose is to just mess with Barry Allen, the Flash, one of my favorite superheroes. But did you know that before 2009, he was pretty much insignificant? You see, in 2009, there was a book called Flash Rebirth, in which Jeff Johns wanted to reinvent the Reverse Flash to be someone significant within the Flash's life, to be his Joker, per se. And it was at that moment that we got the Reverse Flash that many of you know today, the one that has been in TV shows and in cartoon movies and in the video games, the psychotic one whose entire purpose is to just mess with Barry Allen. But that doesn't mean that we don't have a psychotic version of the Reverse Flash within the comics. Now, we're going to go through his entire history because there are so few appearances of him within the history of the DC comic books that pretty much every appearance of him is really crazy and psychotic. So today, we're going to cover the most sadistic and psychotic things that Eobard Thawne has done. Kicking off his insanity, we have one of the driving forces that has led Eobard Thawne to become the Reverse Flash, his stint as the Flash. In a classic storyline titled The Return of Barry Allen, Thawne becomes Barry Allen, in a sense. You see, in his original origin, Barry Allen went to the future where he found Eobard Thawne using an old Flash costume to commit his crimes. Barry Allen destroyed the suit and everything that Eobard Thawne had built and created in this future. He then tried to go back in time to steal Barry Allen's wife, Iris. He figured he would get back at Barry Allen by going and taking his wife away from him. When she turned him down, he killed her. Barry then found a second love, Fiona Webb, and Thawne threatened to kill her as well on their wedding day. So, Barry Allen was forced to kill him. He basically drove Barry Allen into murdering him. This led down a long path that would involve Barry Allen running into the future to live there with Iris until he was needed in the Crisis of Infinite Earths. But this isn't even close to their messed up history together. Because in his second origin, Thawne is still a scientist in the future, but this time he went back in time to replace Barry Allen. He even had facial reconstruction to make it happen, and he stole the cosmic treadmill from an antique shop. He then went back in time and he learned that he was in fact the Flash's greatest enemy, not his replacement. This caused a break in his mind, and he was convinced that he was Barry Allen. Central City had forgotten about him. He battled against Wally and Jay until Wally tricked him into returning to his own time. You see, those were the only two appearances of Eobard Thawne that were significant before Flash Rebirth, and it was during Flash Rebirth that Eobard Thawne was turned into a legit evil character. It's because of Thawne that Barry Allen has turned into the Black Flash, because he has now discovered that his powers are derived from the negative Speed Force. You see, Eobard Thawne had basically created a negative version of Barry Allen's Speed Force. He then murders Johnny Quick and he traps Black Flash Barry Allen and Max Mercury within the negative Speed Force. But that's not enough for him. He tries to murder Wally West's kids in front of their mother, Linda Park. The only thing that saves them is Jay and Bart Allen. But he then quickly defeats Jay and he threatens to kill Bart. He is of course stopped and he proceeds to inform Barry that everything that has ever gone wrong in Barry's life is because of Thawne. Even when he would fall down the stairs into the basement, Thawne tripped him using super speed. When he lost a friend, that was because Thawne messed with him. To seal up everything that he has done and seal up the entire Barry Allen being screwed over by Thawne thing, he decides that he's going to go kill Iris West again, and he takes off to do that. Luckily, Barry and Wally run so fast that Barry becomes the lightning bolt that grants him his very powers in the past. Then, using this speed, Barry and Thawne battle it out throughout time, and eventually, Barry wins. And I also wanted to mention something else that isn't really twisted or sick, but this is where things get weird for Eobard Thawne's timeline. You see, Thawne's original origins are still in his timeline, and so are his deaths. He has messed with his own timeline so much that everything is valid at the same time. So the original Eobard Thawne that Barry Allen killed by snapping his neck, he comes back as a zombie Black Lantern in The Blackest Night. He battles against Barry Allen in The Blackest Night and eventually runs off to find himself in the modern day, the one that Barry Allen just stopped. The dead version finds the living version, and that's where he's stopped in his tracks, and the rogues end up defeating him. The White Lantern appears, reviving the zombie Thawne, making him alive again, and it is then that Thawne supposedly runs back in time, setting everything in motion where he'll eventually come back for Flash Rebirth. It's confusing, but awesome at the same time. Now, in yet another origin for Thawne and another twisted thing in his past, it turns out that he had a brother that took all of his parents' attention. He erased his brother from history, making himself an only child and the star of his family, and this prevented his brother from becoming a cop and stopping him from messing with the Speed Force. He finds a potential love interest, but she doesn't love him back, so he then uses his speed to go back to her childhood and traumatize her, forcing her to become mute and institutionalized. He did all of this to make his own life better for himself, and then he runs off to the Flashpoint comic. Now, in the movie version of Flashpoint, there's an extra scene in which the Reverse Flash got the Rogues to work for him by putting bombs on him. Just a twisted way that he forces people to do his bidding. How can you stop a guy from putting a bomb on you when he can run as fast as the Reverse Flash? But his most evident example of his manipulation of people would be his New 52 incarnation. In this version, he has yet another origin. He watched his father murder his mother and he became arrested. He is then struck by lightning, allowing him to alter the time stream around him. Believing himself to be chosen by the Speed Force, he then terrorizes the city of Gem, demanding that they praise and serve him. This caused them to rebel in the name of the Flash, and outraged that they would praise the Flash and his abilities while shunning Eobard Thawne even though he had similar abilities, he travels back in time to nearly the start of time itself. He recruits 4 people touched by the lightning, granting them superhuman speed-based powers. He convinces them that he saved them, even though he set up most of the situations in which he was required to save them. He then recruits them to help him stop the evil menace known as the Flash. This all eventually backfires as the 4 people discover who he really is, and the Flash learns how to also manipulate the time stream around himself, fighting against Thawne. Apparently that's one of those speedster-based powers that he uses once and never uses again, even though manipulating my own time stream seems like it would be useful always. Now, in the Rebirth incarnation, we bring back his original origin, and this version explains that he is the true Reverse Flash, and he remembers everything that Barry did during Flashpoint. He manages to see the face of God in the button, and then he's killed, only to be brought back to life due to the time stream shenanigans that involve the Reverse Flash always. He also goes into the future to show Barry that he is in fact not the true villain of the Flash, but Barry Allen is. Barry can't exist with the Flash and vice versa. That is most of his comic book appearances and most of the insanity that is the Reverse Flash. Now, in the show, he also tried to rewrite history with the Spear of Destiny, and he also murdered Harrison Wells, taking the place of the Genius so that he can train Barry Allen to become fast enough to be able to send him back into the future or whatever. I kind of forgot, the storyline's way old now. But either way, he replaced an individual whose entire life was there waiting for him. And there you have it, a quick rundown of the Reverse Flash, Eobard Thawne's history. What makes him the true Reverse Flash, and how, since 2009, he's become such a significant character within the Flash's life. From killing his mother, to putting his father in prison, to even training individuals to fight against the Flash because he's the God incarnate evil. This is one of the reasons why I love this character, because he has so much against the Flash, but he's also newish. The Joker goes back so many years. He's my other favorite supervillain, and he goes back so many years that I can't keep up with all the storylines he's involved in. But when it comes to the Reverse Flash, you can very quickly become an Eobard Thawne expert. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash, and you can chat with me on Twitter at Comicstorian or Instagram at Comicstorian, or follow our Facebook, which is Eligible Monster. And you can also find me over on our gaming channel, Eligible Monster, and I've now promoted far too many things. I hope you enjoyed, and check out our other Know Your Universe in the playlist right here, or you can check out the Flash Complete Story playlist right over here.